to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what is going on, everybody? It is The Lock Shop, Friday of week 1 in the National Football League. We got game action tonight as well, and we got a fan of the 1-0 Kansas City Chiefs locked and loaded from Winnipeg. Huss, what's up, buddy?
Dude, I'm on a high right now. What can I tell you? We had
are.
our first game of the season last night, and I told you after going 4-0 last week in the CFL, don't let me heat up coming into NFL season. But I heated up. And last night we had the Chiefs to cover the spread. Play of the day was the Pacheco over receiving yards. Got that in the first touch for Pacheco early on, which was nice. And then the raise the banner parlay, which was Pacheco over receiving yards, Xavier Worthy touchdown, and Chiefs to cover came through as well, just south of 6-1. So last night could not have gone any better, with the exception of it maybe it was a Friday night and we could have just had today to bask in the glory of it. But hey, I'm fired up to get into the lock shop, and I cannot wait to make our week 1 selections as well. What did you think of the game last night? And by the way, how fast is Xavier Worthy?
He's a freak. He's a freak. I mean, that first touchdown was all speed. Second touchdown was horrible defensive coverage by the Ravens, but nobody was catching him anyway after he caught that ball. He is a fun weapon for that offense to work in. Man, he's who was it? Somebody I saw on Twitter was like, man, Andy Reid knows how to take advantage of these guys with speed. Always had. Was it Deshaun Jackson in Philly? And then obviously Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. And Xavier Worthy just seems like an absolute burner. So, and it wasn't like, but he had the rushing touchdown, he had a passing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and one other catch. Right? It's not like he had like the Isaiah Likely night, 111 yards and a touchdown or whatever. But 2 touchdowns. I mean, fantasy stud to get started. And if he's a guy that you can get significant production out of without having to target 8 or 9, 10 times a game, that's an extremely dangerous weapon to have for an offense that already, might not have been as dangerous last year as it had been a few of those other years. But yeah, man, he's fun. He's fun to watch.
The receivers couldn't catch last year. Like they somehow got through the regular season on defense and Mahomes, and then kind of turned it around at the end, and some guys stepped up when they really needed it. How scary is that offense going to look once Hollywood Brown's back?
Well, that's what I mean. I kind of I saw, do they have 2 of those guys now, basically? Because I always kind of just sort of assumed Hollywood Brown would be the guy that Xavier Worthy basically was last night. So I'll be interested to see how they move those. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that they'll effectively move them around where they'll make the biggest impact. But they kind of got 2 of those guys now, which is even more dangerous.
What'd you think about Cowboy? It was worthy to ride with us.
That's good.
right on.
That's
Cowboy,
good.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What did you think about the Ravens?
I was kind of befuddled, if I can use that word, about the Ravens. We were talking about it on our show this morning. So you bring in Derrick Henry. How many touches did Henry have on the first drive? He must have, what do you have, 3 or 4 rushes on the first drive?
Carries.
5 carries on the first drive. What did he finish with, 13? So you only gave him the ball 8 more times the rest of the game. I mean, you gave the ball to him 5 times on the first drive. What happened? You ended up getting a touchdown. Then the game ends with Lamar having like one of the best rushing games we've seen ever. He carried the ball 16 times for 122 yards. And I'm trying to sit there and go, okay, did they bring in Derrick Henry to keep teams in a bit to open up Lamar and let him get out there? But a lot of what Lamar was doing, when it looked to me like his offensive line was not good enough, and he was scrambling around. Like to me, they brought in Derrick Henry to look different, but they looked exactly the same.
Yeah, listen, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, the line isn't where they need it to be. Like, put it this way, I saw Mina Kimes write this morning, going over the game tape again. If Lamar Jackson isn't Lamar Jackson, Chris Jones has 5 or 6 sacks yesterday. I mean, he was just absolutely brilliant in making chicken salad out of chicken shit, if you will.
Yeah.
I thought he played just an amazing game. And, full credit to them for coming back the way they did and making it a game. I mean, that final play, we had to sweat it out pretty good, especially with the spread, because that Harbaugh was going for 2.
Oh yeah, he was already signaling he's going to go for 2.
He was already saying going for 2, and that would have been crushing because,
as much as I think you probably leave frustrated with the Ravens last night, if you're just nonpartisan viewer like myself on that game outside of a few wagers here or there, they still were that close to tying and having a chance to go for the win, right? So I don't know. I mean, we should be talking about Lamar completely blowing it on a wide open pass to Zay Flowers in the end zone on the second last play of the game. I mean, that was simply unacceptable. I mean, that guy was wide open.
The thing is, he had Chanel in his face. I mean, he was throwing it around the guy's arm and across his body on the run. I mean, that's not an easy throw. I mean, it's not like he was just sitting there in the pocket.
Yeah, but he always makes plays on the run. He's used to that. He lives in that situation. I thought that was a bad miss. And then the other, I mean, when Likely came, what a game by Likely, by the way. Holy smokes. I mean, I'm
saying in the chat, how freaked out are you if you're a Mark Andrews owner right now?
I kept Mark Andrews in one of my leagues this year, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And we saw Likely go down in the corner, and it came back though. When he first made that catch, and maybe it's just like the play-by-play guy in me. I got like a sense of the field. When he came down, first thing I thought, I was like, he's out of bounds. Like, there's no way that's in. That's out of bounds. And then the guy signals touchdown. I was like, what? That's amazing. I can't believe he kept his feet in. And then when we finally, I mean, it was an easy call to look at and overturn. But hell of a game from him.
Lamar Jackson says that was a touchdown. Still thinks it's a touchdown.
Did he say that after the game?
Yeah, he said that after the game. And that wasn't even the stupidest thing that was said after the game. That was Isaiah Likely, who said, of the Chiefs, he said, well, if that's all they got, good luck in the playoffs.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
They just won. I mean, one of the dumbest things I've heard in a long time. But he'll be popular on the waiver wire. And if you had Andrews and picked Likely because you thought Andrews might be out early, you're in probably some very, very good shape. But we got a game tonight, and then we've got a full slate of games. We got to get picks.
We're going to get tonight.
Coming up.
Patty's going to slide. I got to get your thoughts on this new look for Travis Kelce, Huss. Where do you come out on going from like awesome beard and tight haircut to I don't know what's going on up here, and then pretty decent stash. But as I tweeted last night, this is a guy who's been in a relationship for a bit versus dude who's trying to get a girlfriend. Like that's what these two looks are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different though. When you're rolling with the queen like Kelce is, you got to have your look is important. I would say his look's always been important to him. He's probably got a team of stylists now that work on outfits and whatnot. He had the low flow shower head hair though. It was interesting that it kind of was out a little bit and gone. Hey, Kelce. I'm certainly not going to give Travis Kelce any fashion tips. not really my.
I shouldn't be either. I thought he looked so better before. Yeah.
Well, I thought he looked cool. And as I say, you know what? Speaking of look, like how good did Taylor look last night, though? Holy smokes!
Yeah,
the red thigh-high boots to raise another banner.
And the denim. I mean, she looked sharp. She looked.
That was worthy of
she looks good.
Worthy of a banner race, and quite a night at Arrowhead last night. Great start to the season. Of course, the script included a thrilling finish right down to the final play. But remember, folks, the Chiefs are the script.
Hey, jeez. Hey, Iwanyk, you want to change my name to my name instead of your name? I just pointed out. I didn't even realize it. Sitting here for 14 minutes. I looked at the text. Somebody's like, it says it's Iwanyk. Definitely not. But Maddie's been regular on Thursdays in the lock shop throughout the CFL season. Huss, are we going to that baseball game tonight? Were you talking about that?
Yeah. If you want to, I've got a ticket for you. If you want to drop your stuff off at the hotel and rip over and meet us.
I'll text you when I get in.
We got a suite, so we'll be able to watch the Packers and the Eagles from Brazil. And then who knows, maybe go for some chicken fingers or a beef dip after, Dusty.
Not a bad idea. Now, it is an early start for the Banjo Bowl, right? It's 2:00.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to be there at noon, so it can't be a crazy night. But I definitely I love that stadium.
No.
We were talking about the stadium today, actually. The Godfather, Troy, is in here today for our 1-year anniversary of Edmonton Sports Talk. So he's sitting around and kind of just drinking by himself with the rest of his work. But he said he's been to the stadium and he absolutely loves it. And I was just like, man, I hear you. Walk under the rail, like under the train tracks, and boom, right there. Oh, it's a great vibe. If you haven't been to Winnipeg yet and you get out there, go to a ball game, man. It's terrific.
It's a big one. Playoff game. It's best of 3, and they lost the first game. So it's a do or die tonight for the Fish. So, for those of you in Winnipeg, and if they do win, we'll have a nice little double banger tomorrow with the Banjo Bowl at 2, and then the playoff game at 6:30.
All right, so Pat will join us. He's going to hop on here in about 10 minutes. I was kind of joking with Pat today. So Patty texts us a little bit earlier and goes, I've got my best bets for tonight, 1 side, 2 props, and my primetime parlay, 3 best bets for Sunday, my teaser, and then a touchdown score for the house callers. And I was like, oh, that's it? That's all you got today? That's all we're bringing to the table on week 1? Got to step up. We dropped what we are now calling the it's the Nielson Show Super Simple Sunday Parlay. And we came up with this morning. Myself, Lieutenant Eric, who doesn't do a lot of sports betting, and YouTube Trev, who doesn't do a lot of sports betting. But I said, you know what? We'll leave the spreads to the big boys on the lock shop. I said, let's just pick 3 winners. That's all we need. I don't even care what the number is. Let's just money line. And so we ended up going. Eric actually took the shortest odds, -147. He's on Houston. So we've got Houston. YouTube Trev picked a team because he's just recently become a fan of them because he's always liked their helmets. So he took the Cincinnati Bengals. It's -400. Didn't add too much, but whatever. Just need the win. And then I went full homer on this one, and I took the Detroit Lions on the money line in the Sunday Nighter. So it was +205. I know the boys were going to put it up as a combo card. +233? Jake says it in the nest. Oh, okay. There we go. So it's +233. Yeah, there it is. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. It's funny. If you go look at the combo cards at the top of Coolbet right now, it says the NSSSSP. It's perfect. +233. So if you want to get on that, Cincinnati, Houston, Detroit, +233. We just need them all to win. It's the NSP. And we're going to do that every single week here as well. But how do we want to approach this? I was going to give out some of our best bets now, and then Patty will slide. Okay, let's do it.
Let's do a let's fire it up and do our 4 best bets and just go back and forth. And then once Pat gets in here, we'll get into the touchdown scores and everything else that he's got lined up for us. You want me to start with the first?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Give me your first pick of the year. Yeah, I mean, you're like you said, don't let this guy get hot, and he's hot.
Let's keep it going. So listen, I always say this: week 1 historically has been a bit of a graveyard. I will tread lightly on this, and to be honest, I mean, there's a lot of really tough games to pick. But I'm going to start it off with the team that I am high on, going up against a team I love to bet against. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks -6 at home against the Denver Broncos. Now, I do think Denver's going to be better this year, and Bo Nix looked good in the preseason. But, man, this is a tough spot for a rookie quarterback. Going in his first game in the National Football League is on the road against the 12s in Seattle, against a team that is now coached by Mike McDonald, the former Ravens coordinator. I think that Seattle is actually being slept on a little bit. We talked about it earlier this week. I like Seattle to be a playoff team at +175. And listen, I'm not saying that Bo Nix can't have a really solid season and, the Broncos can't move in the right direction. I just think that this is a really tough spot for him to go in. rookie quarterbacks, you're going to make a few mistakes. That's a defense that is going to be running at a real high level. And as I said, a real tough place to play. And they're bringing back most of the pieces from their offense. Kenneth Walker's healthy. DK Metcalf's there. I think we're going to see more Jackson Smith-Njigba. So give me the Seahawks -6 to start things off for the best bets. Where you want to go with pick number one?
You know what? I'm actually going to go with Tennessee. I'm going to take Tennessee +4 on the road against the Chicago Bears. Interesting stat that I saw as I was diving into this last night and again today. Caleb Williams is the 19th first overall pick to start week 1 at quarterback. The previous 18 went 3-14-1 straight up, 5-12-1 against the spread. And I know different teams are in different situations, but I think the overall conversation here is that, you've got the first overall starting at quarterback. I know they've made some other changes there as well. I mean, am I expecting Chicago to be significantly better than they were last year? Yes, I am. But can we all of a sudden just think it's going to happen immediately and there's not going to be any sort of leeway needed over a couple of weeks for this thing to come together? For them to be given 4 at home? I like, we said it earlier. Yeah, I think you mentioned it with me last week. We talked a little bit about Will Levis and what they might be building in Tennessee. And I'm not going to sit here and take them on the money line, but the Titans to keep it within 4 against Chicago, and it's this new look Chicago team, and we'll see how they come together. I think I'm gonna roll with the Titans here as 4-point underdogs on the road.
That's an interesting game and an interesting spot. I mean, part of me thinks that this. I thought about that on both sides, really. Like we could see Caleb Williams come in and just look like the second coming of who. And if that's the case, power to them. He's certainly surrounded by a lot of talented players. But much like I just talked about Bo Nix, I mean, there will be some, mistakes made so far. And listen, Tennessee reminds me of the Winnipeg Jets, just a team that's kind of slept on, people don't think of very much. And then you sort of dive into their roster, you know what? They got some playmakers on this team. And Ridley, Hawkins is still there.
They also brought in 7 new starters on defense. Like, they're not just like, we'll just go through the same thing we did last year. Yeah. Like, they brought in 7 new starters on defense. So, and now the same argument can be made that, do we know that they're going to be good? But I do like the fact that the Titans decided to mix it up that significantly this year. So, I think this will be more of a close game than a Bears runaway, at least. So I like the fact that you're getting the Titans +4 here as opposed to +2.5 or +3 on the road.
All right, so Dusty 10 +4, Seattle -6. My next pick, and I don't know, I've gone back and forth on this team a lot, but we're going to the Pittsburgh-Atlanta game, and everybody is out on Pittsburgh. And I think that when we did our very first NFL futures discussion on this program, I was looking at the odds, and I'm like, Pittsburgh over 8.5 wins, Pittsburgh to make the playoffs. Like, these are great, great numbers that we've got to get on it. And like, as training camp has continued through, I mean, it's just been one bad news story after another out of Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens. Russ apparently has got something up with his foot going into this game.
I saw Fields was taking some reps. Yeah.
And then at the same time, everyone is so high on Atlanta. Well, Kirk Cousins hasn't played at all with this new team, did nothing in the preseason. And now they're coming out. Like, we're treating Atlanta as if they've actually done something already before they do it. And I'm in wait and see mode on Atlanta. I certainly am not picking them. Like, I think that division is wide open, and I think it's wide open because no one's very good. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that the Pittsburgh Steelers are great, and I'm not even sitting here telling you that they're going to win. But I will say one thing that I think we can unequivocally say. Of the 4 units that are going to be going against each other on Sunday in the Dome, Pittsburgh offense, defense, Atlanta offense, defense. The Pittsburgh defense is clearly far and away the best unit that we'll be seeing. Atlanta might turn into a high-powered offense, we'll see about that. I'll tell you what, though, TJ Watt's going to be good to go. And that Pittsburgh defense, I think, is going to keep the Pittsburgh Steelers in a ton of games. They're not going to need Russell Wilson to be throwing for 350 yards in this game. I think this will be ball control. I think it will be field position. And I think they're going to lean on that defense to stay in it. The fact that we're getting 3.5 in this is all I needed to see. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 3.5. I think this is a field goal game. I could see them winning the game, but I certainly think it'll be close. And I think the Pittsburgh defense keeps them in. So I like the Steelers plus 3.5.
I'm going to get on my beloved Detroit Lions minus 4.5 here, opening up home against the Rams. The Rams team that has gone through some significant changes on defense. Coordinator, Raheem Morris, gone. Head coach, somewhere else. Aaron Donald, gone. He's gone somewhere else. Detroit, and this will definitely monitor the status here of a few of their guys offensively. But I like Detroit at home minus 4.5 here to open up. There's high expectations this year. They won 12 games last year with a very mediocre defense, below average defense. I think they were like 23rd in the league last year in defense. And that was one of the things they went out and addressed this year. So if the Detroit Lions defense improves to top end of the middle of the pack, like somewhere between 10th to 14th instead of 23rd, you know that their offense is going to be there. And if I'm the Los Angeles Rams right now, working in a new defensive coordinator, not having Donald anymore, the Lions are probably the last team I want to see on offense to get this season going. So I like Detroit minus 4.5. I know it's a weird number, but I like Detroit minus 4.5. I'd probably take them up even a point or two more. I think the Lions will win comfortably to open up here against the Rams, as long as their defense is improved as it should be with some of the names that they brought in.
Yeah, I thought about that game. To me, that's a tough one. I mean, they had a hell of a game in the playoffs. And you know, I mean, the Rams do have Cooper Kupp healthy right now. I know Nacua was the guy that actually was out for part of the preseason, and a healthy Matt Stafford. I stayed away from that game. It should be an awesome one, though. A lot of people, though, really, really high on Detroit, and I think rightly so with what they have done so far in the offseason. All right, so I've got Pittsburgh and I've got Seattle in. This wasn't a game that I was intending on picking originally, but I think with this recent line movement, I'm going to jump on the Texans. It's Houston at Indy. This number was 3 or 3.5. It's now 2.5 for Houston. I would not be betting this if it was 3 or 3.5. These division games are traditionally very, very tight. I'm going to give Houston the benefit of the doubt on the team that they were last year to be better, but I'm not sleeping on Indy. And I do think that there is a scenario where Jonathan Taylor starts running the football, Richardson starts moving in as well, almost the way we saw Henry and Lamar at some point last night, and they could be a problem. But I'll tell you what, that Houston offense has so much firepower. You've added Joe Mixon. Diggs is there, along with a healthy Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Stroud's got a year under his belt. Listen, I think that this is a game that Houston absolutely can win. And if the number's less than 3, I'll be on it. So Houston minus 2.5 is pick number 3.
I'm going on Cincinnati. I know it's 8. But I can't back the New England Patriots to start the season. I don't know what's going to happen in New England. I don't know how bad the Patriots are going to be this year. Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow, obviously something to prove after last season and everything that they had to deal with. I think Cincinnati absolutely rolls at home, though. I don't even know how much more I have to say about this. I'm going to fade New England pretty much every single week until they bite me. Maybe they bite me in week 1. I don't see it happening. So just a heads up, I'll be betting against whoever's playing New England until it really starts to hurt. And I don't think that's going to happen in week 1. And we do have Pat Grega coming up here too. Maybe we'll talk a little bit. We're going to get his best bets as well. So Cincinnati minus 8 will be my third. So I'm on Cincinnati minus 8, Detroit minus 4.5, Tennessee plus 4. Who do you got for your fourth, Huss?
Oh, man, now this is tough. I was actually thinking about Cincy. I'm with you on that pick. I mean, I know it's a huge line, the biggest of the week. there's a reason, though. I did get in my futures before it was off the board at the Patriots to have the most losses in the league, so it'll be fun cheering against them each and every week. There's a few games right now that, I think are attractive when it comes to the number of points that are being thrown out there. We've got Washington plus 3.5. I'm going to hold off on that.
I thought about it.
Daniels looks right now. Exactly. There's something to be said for Carolina at plus 4, to be honest with you. This is a team that I think Canales is going to make them far more competitive. And again, they're playing against the Saints with Carr. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the Jags. Jacksonville in Miami plus 3.5. Listen, I get why Miami's the favorite in this game. But I do sort of think that Jacksonville's being a little bit overlooked right now. And again, much like we were saying with the Pittsburgh number, you're getting the 3 and the hook at plus 3.5. This is a huge season for Trevor Lawrence. He's got the contract. It's now time to go and show and prove. Comfortable with Evan Ingram. You add in the other weapons around him. And to me, maybe the most important thing is a healthy Travis Etienne right out of the gate. We really haven't seen that in the first couple of years in the league. Well, the first year was basically a complete write-off. And listen, I think Miami's a really good team, but I think that they're going to give up some points as well. The continuity as well of the Jacksonville coaching staff I think is going to be really big for Trevor Lawrence with everything that happened to him in those first few years. So let's see this game, one of the battles of Florida, be a tight one. And we'll take the Jags plus 3.5 for my final pick, taking 2 favorites and 2 dogs.
I am actually on Carolina. I'm glad you kind of mentioned it briefly there.
Oh.
When you said it, I was like, you know what? I was debating between Washington and Carolina, but let's see what Bryce Young does in his second season. I know it's so easy in the National Football League to see a guy who come in and just have an absolutely horrendous rookie season. They brought in a good receiver in Deontay Johnson. I'm not too sure where I come out on the Saints right now as they start this season either. I'm gonna roll with Canales, Bryce Young, week 1, Carolina, plus the points. It's 4, right? I saw it at 4.5, but it's 4 right now.
4.
It's plus 4 at 111. So, so I'm on 2 dogs and 2 favorites as well. So Tennessee plus 4, Detroit minus 4.5, Carolina plus 4, and Cincy minus the 8 against New England Patriots. I know Jake's in the nasty chat being like, every time I see this show, every time I'm watching, there's slander with the New England Patriots. It's just like, suck it up, man. Nobody feels bad about doing it for New England Patriots fans right now. Like, you're looking at a bloody Detroit Lions fan, Jake. Calm down. Calm down. Realize what I've been through my entire life, dude. Come on.
He knows about
plus
that
the Pats
first
suck.
overall pick.
Okay, look, we can't go ahead. Recap your 4 again. We can't keep this guy waiting. He's like a bull in the chute waiting to get out here. I can see Patty. He's like, it's Friday. Let's go.
So I am on Seattle minus 6.
Okay.
Pittsburgh plus 3.5. Houston minus 2.5. Jacksonville plus 3.5. Dusty's got Tennessee plus 4. Carolina plus 4. Detroit minus 4.5. And Cincinnati minus 8. And
Pat Gregoire's bet on every other game. So he's got it covered for us. Let's bring in P. Greggy from NFL. We got to start with last night. What did you think of last night, Patty? We got Patty on a mute. Maddie, you got him muted or has he got him muted? There we go. He's muted? Patty, are you muted?
It's happened on WST yesterday too. I think it's something with the AirPods.
With Pat? Like he was on yesterday with you and it happened the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We had
You guys hear me now?
There we go. Yeah, we got you now, buddy. We got you now.
He's back.
Oh, you scared me. You can't do that week 1. God, man.
I know. It's this microphone. I got to get a new one. Whatever happens, forget it. It's done. I'm done with this one. We're on the AirPods. It was unbelievable. Great start. A little bit of a crazy start. Ravens kind of were underwhelming at some points in the first half. Lamar Jackson didn't really I mean, let's not get it twisted. One of the best, rushing performances we've ever seen, but a little bit of a weird night for him. Like, I know that throw was incredible, out of bounds by, half a toe, but let's not forget, he also missed a wide open Zay Flowers in the end zone. Just the play before that, really weird game. An awesome game though. Chiefs, like, you just absolutely breaking this Bills fan's heart. The fact that the Bills traded away that pick to the Chiefs and they were the ones who picked up Worthy, like, just stabbed me in the heart.
Well,
again.
it's not like the Bills have any sort of need for receivers, Pat, so it doesn't matter.
No, God, no, not at all. Not at all. Cool. We just traded away the next Tyreek Hill. Awesome. Awesome. But no, it was great. Heartbreak. We had everything. Like, the over 3.5 field goals cashed. We almost had overtime. Heartbreak on the parlay for myself. Just one Pacheco reception. I did individually bet, like Huss, I know you were on the yards. So I individually bet that, but because you had that on your bet, I went with the receptions and a drop pass earlier in the game. Because I wouldn't have it any other way. We had a bad beat. We had a good win. Football is absolutely all the way back, boys.
Raise the banner parlay came through, Patty.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
We don't have to deal with another year of the Chiefs on the lock shop, do we? Like,
we do.
My God.
We do.
Oh,
if they're going to win me money on these parlays,
fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll ride them unless they're playing the Bills, which are, probably will go well for the Bills in the regular season, but we'll see what happens in the postseason. We know what happens. We've seen this movie before.
Patty, we want to get to all your picks for Sunday, but guys, we got to hit on this Friday nighter. Pat, I know you said you got some plays for tonight, so give them to us. What do you got?
Oh, I mean, I won't spend much time on this. Over 3.5 field goals, plus 130. Last time I bet it it was funny. It was plus 135 at the time of the lock shop. By the time I went on to do my hit with WST in the afternoon, it was all the way down to what, Huss? Plus 115?
Yeah, 115.
That just shows you the power of the lock shoppers, the power of the WSTers and the ESDers. They hammer that line all the way down.
It's an automatic bet. We play it every year. Every game.
It's 1-0.
Yeah.
We're riding the hot hand. So I like that there. My other prop that I really like, Luke Musgrave, anytime touchdown at plus 300. The Eagles ranked in the bottom half of the league in yards and touchdowns surrendered to tight ends last year. And I believe they were the 6th worst team against tight ends in fantasy points as well. So a Musgrave touchdown at 3-1. Really, really like that. The Patty's primetime parlay for tonight. We're going for redemption. Jordan Love over 7.5 rushing yards. I know he's not known for using his legs, but he's a pretty athletic lad. I believe it's like of all his games last year, he hit this over 11 times. So I like him to get over that number. Barkley, I got him. I'm going back to it. I know it hurt us last night. Running back receptions. I'm going over the 2.5. And then, of course, the staple, the over 3.5 field goals. That is up and in the combo cards, all ready to go. And if I had to pick a side tonight, I think I'm going here with the Packers. I might buy the hook at plus 3.5.
Yeah.
Huss, you've waxed poetically. I've waxed poetically. I think money line is in play here. I probably will wait a little bit closer to game time. You're super high on the Packers this year. You're also down on the Eagles. I am as well. Like half, I shouldn't say half because I've got a lot. I have like 3 bets for my futures card that are fading the Eagles. I think they're a powder keg. I think they could easily win their division and go onto a big run, or they could flat out miss the playoffs. They could blow up. I think Sirianni's very close to losing that locker room. For me, this is a tough spot. It's a neutral site game. I think the Packers are being vastly underrated in this spot. So I'm going to take them by the spread. And depending on what happens later tonight, closer to kickoff, I'll probably sprinkle a little money line on them as well. So that's what I've got for tonight's game.
I'm on the money line plus 118 for the Packers. And I actually did, as I mentioned, I guess yesterday on the program, did a Chiefs minus 2.5, Packers plus 3.5 parlay, which was plus 200. So obviously we've got the first leg on that. So it's nice. We've got Green Bay plus 3.5 for that one. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I like the Packers to win this game. I trust Matt LaFleur a hell of a lot more than I trust Nick Sirianni, especially considering the unique circumstances around this football game. I think Green Bay is going to be all business. Philly has so much talent that like they could go and look amazing and put 35 up and it wouldn't be shocking. But this Packer team, I think, is going to be a problem for a lot of teams, and I think they make that statement tonight. So money line and, of course, the field goals. Let's go 2 for 2 prime time over 3.5 XG.
Packers money line, Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That's the 2 plays that I've got on this game tonight. So it's something to keep tabs on. All right. So,
I love that.
So we laid out our best bets. Patty, you got your Sunday best bets. We got the new anytime touchdown score parlay, the 4-way that we're going to do. Did Jake text you his pick for this? We give him to say
yes,
the nasty. Okay, we're good to go on that. Okay, so give us your best bets first for Sunday, buddy. Give us the card for Sunday. What are you looking at?
It's funny. My 2 best bets, you guys are both on, so I don't really have to spend a whole ton of time here.
Sounds like
Titans
a nice little parlay coming together here. This is good.
It certainly does. Titans +4. You already laid out that crazy stat about first overall picks.
Yeah.
Quarterback struggling. I'm keeping that theme as well with the Seahawks -6 with Bo Nix. Those are by far my favorite 2 bets for that. So if we want to throw a partner parlay together, I would be very okay with that. With that being said, though, my 3rd favorite bet is going up against Huss, so we can leave that off the board. It's the Dolphins. I actually like the Dolphins. We know I am a card-carrying member of the Dolphins are frauds. Once the weather gets cold, once playoff bully ball shows up, they start to fade. But good thing for them. Good thing for Mike McDaniel. It's still summertime. It is September. I think they have capabilities to really throw this ball around. They're going to be healthy. So that's why I like them. Tua, 9-2 against the spread and 10-1 when the Finns are favorite in his career. And I think the Jags defense, their strength is the pass rush, but nobody got the ball out quicker than Tua. So I like the Dolphins here. Again, not going to throw in the parlay because Huss is on the other side. And it's my 3rd favorite pick anyways. I do like the over 49.5 as well. I think both teams have the capabilities to just absolutely throw it around the yard here. So would be surprised if it's a high scoring affair in the Battle of Florida.
So if we like Seattle, and again, we're going to have to take, and we'll take a better number, but take advantage of the boost. I guess with Seattle, do we want to take it to 5.5? If we need to have it on because we can't, for the partner parlay, we can't have it on an even number. We do Seattle 4.5, Tennessee. Do we want to go 3.5 or 4.5 on that one?
Probably 4.5. And if we're gonna get a boost on it, might as well take the extra half point.
Boost,
yeah,
so.
I'd rather win it. So Seattle 5.5, Tennessee 4.5. What do you guys think about Steelers +3.5? I've got Houston -2.5. Or we take that big Cincinnati number. They're at
how much do you think the Pats are going to suck, Patty?
They're going to be awful. They are going to be dreadful. They're going to be really, really bad. Sorry, Jake. They stink.
Sorry, Jake. They stink.
So I've got the Bengals in a teaser for Patty G's tease, which will be up hopefully soon. Bengals -2.5, Chargers up to 3.5, and then the Seahawks money line. Really like that one.
That's a 6-point tease, pretty much.
6-point tease, pretty much, yeah. So for the Bengals, like I'm a coward. I took them at -2.5. I think they could win by 14 here. Like if this was Bill Belichick's regime, like I know they lost a lot of games over the last 2 years, but like he never got blown out. He never got blown. This is a completely different regime. I think the Bengals have a chip on their shoulder. I think they want to try to take that division back, and they are a team that I don't think is afraid of beating up on weaker opponents. So I like that number. I really do. I think it's going to be sweaty in the first half. That Patriots defense is pretty solid. Don't get me wrong. The defense is not the issue. I think first half we're going to be like, oh God, we should have added it. Second half they'll pull away and we'll.
Yeah, this game could end up being 24-9. You know what I mean? Like, and that's going to be that's a comfortable cover, right? Like, I don't think it's crazy for us to think that that's the way that this game could go. So I don't know. I know we don't love putting in the bigger numbers in these bad boys, but what do you think, Huss? You're okay with it?
For week one, again, like there's a lot of uncertainty about a lot of these games. I think since he wins by double digits, so I'm fine with it. Okay. We'll take Seattle to 5.5, Tennessee plus 4.5, Cincinnati minus 7.5. 3-gamer, sound good?
Yep. Hey, just a couple of games that like I haven't heard any of us touch.
I was just going to bring that up.
Well, like it's a 1.5 point spread in that Vikings Giants game. Like I saw it, I was just I think I have no appetite to even dive into that one, really. Did you guys think about that one at all? But I don't think we've talked Cowboys Browns. I got that in Dusty's Dogs, but that was another one. Like we haven't. What do you think, Huss? Like,
in the off season when we first started seeing lines for week one, because we've been staring at them for like 3 months, the Cowboys were favored on the road.
Yeah,
and now they're 2.5 point underdogs. I mean, everybody is on Cleveland. I mean, I still don't have a lot of confidence in Deshaun Watson, which is sort of part of the reason why I just stayed away from that game. And I mean, I don't know how Dallas is going to do it this year. And this is part of the reason why I'm a little nervous about CeeDee Lamb and the super high expectations in fantasy. I think he's going to have 2 guys on him every single game. Like, I mean, I don't know if Rico Dowdle and Zeke are going to scare people when it comes to the running game. Jake Ferguson's basically their number 2 receiver.
But this is kind of how it was last year for CD too, though, right? Like, who have they?
Well, I mean, they had Brandon Cook, they had Gallup, they had, those guys were, and Brooks, Cooks just hasn't really been healthy.
Yeah, Cooks is hurt right now, So I don't know. I feel like he kind of did what he did last year in a similar situation, but.
Me, I would take Cleveland, but I don't trust Deshaun Watson enough, and that's why this was a stay away game for me. And I will touch on the Minnesota game when we get into our house callers.
I think that Browns Cowboys game is a good teaser because I don't see the Browns like blowing out the Cowboys in that game. They just don't have the firepower. So if you like tease that up with a couple other games, you maybe like up to like 8.5. Like I just don't like the Browns just don't blow out teams and at home, but their defense, like the splits between home and away, their defense was great wherever you played them last year, but like at home they were giving up like 0 points. Like you could not score on this team when they played at home. So I trust the defense. I'm with you though, Huss. Like I can't trust Watson. So I think a tease, if you tease up the Browns, or you tease up the Cowboys, or maybe even tease the Browns down where you're getting them down to a dog and they just gotta lose by a field goal or whatever it may be. I think it's a stay away for me from either side. It's probably one of the more intriguing matchups, though, I'd say, on the docket for sure.
A quick note for anybody who's watching the Lock Shop or listening at EdmontonSportsTalk.com for the first time. When we say teaser, I just want to quickly explain that to you. So let's say you take 3 games and we say, oh yeah, we'll just do a 6-point teaser. So I just selected 3 random games sitting here in front of me right now. So you select your 3 games. It'll come up as you add games to your bet slip. Parlay will pop up and then teaser pops up. So right now, for example, I've got a 6-point teaser set up with the Cowboys, Vikings, and Colts. So the Cowboys are 2.5 point underdogs. This moves them. You get 6 points added onto this. So the Cowboys are now 8.5 point underdogs. The Vikings go from 1.5 point favorites to 4.5 point underdogs. And the Colts go from 2.5 point dogs to 8.5 point dogs at home against the Texans. Now, obviously, because you're buying 6 points on multiple games, the number comes down quite a bit. And it brings it down to plus 140. But I remember, before our partnership with you guys, Patty, so it must have been a few years back, I was with another site doing games there, and it was my most successful NFL season ever. And I just kept hammering teasers all year long. And it was just, so teasers are a fun way for people to kind of get into it, change the risk a little bit, change the reward a little bit as well. But I got a lot of time for teasers, man. I really enjoy them.
Yeah, that's why I've got Patty G's teas. And I know Mark in the chat is all fired up. He was asking me like last week if the Patty G's tea is going to be back. It is absolutely going to be back. It's fun. I mean, don't expect big returns. It's not like a real 3-leg parlay because you're buying points. But again, if you are uncertain, and I think at the start of the year, the teaser is probably where you get the best value, because as the players are getting the rust off, the coaches are getting the rust off, so is the sports book, right? So I think that's where maybe you can find some value getting those teases in, and I've always enjoyed it. There will be times, though, where you look at a teaser and you sit there and you look and you're like, oh, there's no way this loses. How does this lose? And then one or two, sometimes all three of the legs end up not covering. So that's why they call it gambling, because you're taking a risk. And even though you think you've beat the system with a tease,
it does feel like that when you hit it. When you hit a few teases early in the season, you're like, oh, I'm never going to lose on a tease. And then you're like, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
You got to stay cool, bet responsibly, even on the teasers. But I just wanted to lay that out for people who might not be familiar with them.
No, that was perfect.
Yeah. Okay, house callers. Go ahead, Huss.
On the teaser, though, I'm just putting this together while we're thinking about this. If you do like some of the bigger favorites this week, here's a 3-gamer, a 6-point tease with the Bills down to half a point, the Bengals down to 2, and the Seattle Seahawks down to 0. And if you like those teams to win, you need the Bengals basically to win by a field goal and the other two teams just to win. You can get that at plus 140. I think I might.
That's essentially my teaser there, except for you swap out the Bills for the Chargers. So you get the Chargers at plus 3.5. So yeah, I like that one though, Huss, a lot. I mean, obviously I'm biased as a Bills fan. I don't bet on the Bills on each side, but as will come here in the house callers, you do know I don't shy away from Bills props.
Hey, we'll get to house callers right away. I'm going to put together a teaser. I'm going to go with what Duck Dad says here. Dusty Nielson, more like Dusty Teasin'. So I'll put together. We can put up a Dusty Teasin' teaser this weekend. We'll do that. All right, house callers. We're going to do it. Myself, Pat, Huss, and Jake. 4 touchdown scores on Sunday. We'll leave the Monday because we'll be obviously breaking out Sunday, doing Monday Night Football on Monday. Let's do. I know I've got a couple different names I'm thinking about, but Pat, do you have Jake's pick? Let's do Jake's pick first so we can ridicule and then do our own. Yeah.
Jake is going Aaron Jones plus 125.
All right, my least favorite of the picks so far. Let's say it right now. Aaron Jones plus 125.
Plus 125.
Okay.
I've got the same number. It's plus 125. But as I mentioned, I don't shy away from the Buffalo Bills player props, and I'm going with wide receiver number 1 of the Buffalo Bills. Although he is not a wide receiver, it's Dalton Kincaid. I think he is going to be the comfort blanket for Josh Allen this year, especially in the red zone. And the Cardinals gave up the 3rd most passing touchdowns in the entire league last year and tied for 2nd most touchdowns against to the tight ends. Kincaid last year had 91 targets, and that was with Diggs and Davis. Now Allen has to figure out a way to spread that love. Yes, Coleman's going to get some love. Shakir is going to get some more. But I do truly believe Kincaid is going to be Josh Allen's number 1 target, especially when it comes to the red zone.
I am power ranking our picks from my preferences. Yours is at the top right now. Aaron Jones is at the bottom. That's the 1 and 4. Huss,
Huss,
give me your pick. Let's see.
Well, here it is. I have to pivot from my pick because I was all locked and loaded.
On Aaron Jones?
No, on Justin Jefferson. But I don't know if we want to take 2 guys from the same team, especially the Vikings.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
So I will pivot from Justin Jefferson to another guy that I'm pretty fired up to see what he can do on the weekend. And that is a guy that I think is going to be getting touches all day long in multi-situations. Travis Etienne for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even money plus 100.
Love that.
I'm putting it at number 2 behind Kincaid on my power rankings. But it could be even higher because I had 2 guys written down. One of them was Travis Etienne. I swear to God. So I like that pick. I'm going with a rookie quarterback.
Ooh.
Jaden Daniels plus 163 to rush in a touchdown.
Whoa.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to put it number 3 on the power rankings. It's still ahead of Jake's Aaron Jones pick. But Kincaid, Etienne, Jaden Daniels, Aaron Jones, that'll be the like they're going up against Tampa. Tampa, I was reading on Action Network today, one of the luckiest teams in the league last year. So they're expecting a bit of regression. I could see Jaden Daniels getting inside that 10-yard line and where a veteran quarterback might hang in there to try to find a receiver. He's just like, oh, yeah, I'm faster than everybody. I'm just going to run it into the end zone. So Jaden Daniels plus 163 for a rushing touchdown. That'll be mine.
I love that.
This is going to be a good number.
So
be a nice number.
This will be a big number. I mean, a four gamer. We'll see. We're
going to hit a few of these. We're going to hit a few of these this year. I know it. So let's do it in week one, man. Let's do it in week one.
It'll be big. When we do, it will be big.
Hey, last night's Edmonton Sports Talk got a little bit sweaty there for a bit when Worthy walked it in.
When he scored so early, I was like, oh, we're in play here. We're in play. Yeah. We should have. You know what? If Gager would have gone Henry instead of Lamar, it would have been a major sweat for the last three quarters of that game, man. And Travis Kelce would have let us down. Are you kidding me? God.
Oh man,
that was the funny thing with my with the raise the banner one. We got the Pacheco on his first touch, and Worthy scored on his first touch. So we basically had two of the legs right off the bat, and then it was just a matter of covering the three, and that ended up being a major sweat right until the final play. But we got it done. I'm looking forward to seeing what. It's plus money on every single one of these. So 4 together is going to be
that'll be good.
It's going to be juicy, boys. It's going to be juicy.
Hey, Coolbet promo right now up until Monday Night Football. Deposit 50, you get 50. Just go to coolbet.com if you already have an account. This is for you current users. If you already have an account, go to coolbet.com, click on promotions. You'll see it. You enter you click on the link. The code will pop in there for you. And deposit 50, get 50. Deposit 20, get 20. I think it's a nice little week one bonus for everybody. So, boys, enjoy the football, man. It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk on Monday. Pat, you'll be back on Monday with us? Of course you are.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Monday's going to be phenomenal. I know. Yeah. All right, boys.
Hey,
go ahead, Huss.
Quickly, before I bust out, don't forget, big weekend of the CFL. We got BC Montreal tonight, and then 3 games tomorrow, including the Banjo Bowl, which is going to be insane. Dusty's going to be calling it. We had full consensus yesterday in the lock shop when I was doing the picks with Iwanyk. I am coming off of a 4-0 week. Montreal minus 2.5, Toronto plus 1.5, and the Bombers and Elks minus 2.5 for each, plus 11.25 right now up.
It's a nice number.
The exclusives. If you want a little piece of some,
I'm trying to think on my picks that I sent to Maddie. I think I'm on the same as 3 or 4 of you. Did I take the Riders this week? I can't remember. I did. I'm already regretting that Riders pick. I should change it before the game starts. Well, their offensive line is like demolished. Maddie, mark me down. I'm switching over to the Bombers. Week hasn't started yet. I'm switching right now. I'm with you and Huss. Yeah, I'm riding with you on all of them. All right, that's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Oil Stream coming up right now at Edmonton Sports Talk. Obviously, Winnipeg Sports Talk starting right away here at the top of the hour as well. Enjoy the football, boys. We will talk to you. Patty, I'll text you my Dusty teasing. We'll get you that, and we'll everybody know on socials when the Lock Shop Partner Parlay is up. Did we pick? Oh yeah, we did a parlay. We got that locked in too. What a fun show, man! Oh, it's good to have NFL back. Go have a smoke, boys. Back. We'll talk to you on Monday. All right, see you later.